Welcome to another Jamwriter nugget. Bite-sized chunks of wisdom for your writing and publishing journey from Jamwriter authors. From manuscript to market and beyond. Today, our authors will be talking about agents and the traditional publishing industry.
You want to be traditionally published. That's like kind of what's been thrown at you growing up and everything. You see the little penguin on the back of the book. Yes. You know that that's Penguin House. You know that there are these big companies, and you feel like they're going to have your back if you do it. So of course, everybody. Well, I don't know if everybody, but I definitely wanted to traditionally publish.
I did, yes. In fact, with Misty Lake, before it was, I'd written a couple of drafts, and I went to the Surrey International Writers Conference several years back and talked to several agents. I had one agent in San Diego that was looking at it and inevitably said, I really like your hook, and I love your story, but your writing isn't quite there yet. And so, I worked on that, and I think she helped me out a lot in that sense, but I never did go back to her. And I did try, like I say, and it's funny, I did the same thing with some of my songs that I wrote. You go through different agents and that, and they all, there's a lot of thanks to no thanks, right? And you have to work through that. And so then at some point, and I think this is why self-publishing has become such a bigger thing now, is because people are tired of being told no. They want to get out there and they want to get it. They want to get their product out there, and they want people to see it. And just because it doesn't fit in the box that you want, it doesn't mean that it's not a good product, right?
Even though it was a canned response, for the most part, they gave me the same, one-line feedback that was like, I didn't connect with the main character at first, which then sparked a whole, okay, well, what's going on with this? Why aren't they connecting with the main character? And so that sparked a whole rewrite, which made it 10 times better. Yeah. So.
Yes and no. I've had probably a non-typical journey with my writing. When I was about halfway through the first book, I happened to be talking to somebody and sent them a copy of just what I'd written so far. Who does that? Nobody does that. And I didn't know any different, and I did it. And they sent me back a letter saying that they would be interested in looking at film rights for it, that they didn't see a movie in it, but they could definitely see the makings of a series.
Excellent. And
my head blew up, probably exploded all over everything. And I thought, oh my God, I'm the next E.L. James. I mean, this is it. Well, so I didn't think that I needed to query for an agent, and I didn't think I needed to query for a publisher. Mm-hmm. But I did, like I said, I did turn to my friend who's now my editor, and we talked about all the different paths that I could do. And we discussed them all ad nauseum, and I did a lot of research on it. And finally, I just said, I found this one publisher. They take between 5 and 10% of everything that's been submitted. If they take me, I think that's what I want to do, because at this point, I'm almost 67. I'm like, I don't have 3 or 4 years to get going. I want to get going now.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's what I did. And my first book has sold really well. My second book, not as much, but it did get released right in the middle of COVID. Wow. And I was unable to do some of my in-person events that I was doing.
Right, gotcha.
So, I was not unique. That was happening to everybody. So.
Yes, I did. I became a member of the Writers Guild of Great Britain. I went and paid my subscription, went to the base in London where they operate from, and I got this their yearbook with over lots of different bits of information, but there was a 400-page section of what should we call them, publishing companies and literary agents. And I've been told, talking to various people who've been brushing with those, I think, don't go to a publisher, you'll never get anything from them, they'll just throw you out. You've got to go via a literary agent. So I pursued this one. I read carefully their websites and picked out 27, all but 2 in London, the 2 in Edinburgh. And I followed what their instructions said, first 3 chapters, synopsis, etc., the usual stuff, and emailed it off to them. Out of the 27, I can look you square in the eye, Dom, and say I got 12 replies that were clearly personal replies to me. The rest were letters that they shoot out.
Standard stock one.
And then I had 8 of the ones I wrote who didn't even bother acknowledging that I'd made contact with them, which I thought was a little rude. But anyway, that's how they operated. But I've got to tell you this because you can use it or not. But I sent one off to one in London and got a reply within 48 hours. And it said, "Dear Glenn, we so enjoyed reading your book," and it was a really sort of flowery bit of introduction. And then you could see it falling into something kind of routine stuff you tell them. So this is hilarious. I actually enjoyed doing this. It was a test. I wrote 3 chapters of complete rubbish about nothing. I didn't even punctuate it. I just put words, and I did a synopsis that was total and utter lunacy, and a covering letter saying I've written this book, etc., and sent it off to them. And 48 hours later, I got the exact same letter for these people who sent me, and that kind of destroyed my faith in the route of going through these literary agents.
Absolutely.
And that's what prompted me to go Kindle Direct Publishing.
I have to be honest, I considered it. I did consider it, but I decided that when I did a look around for what these traditional publishing houses wanted versus what I was writing, I realised quite quickly that because I write in a very niche market, historical fiction is niche. Lots of people like fiction, lots of people like historical fiction. It's kind of a bit never the twain shall meet, but it's what I want to write. It's what I enjoy writing. So, sorry, that's what I'm writing.
Yeah.
And I don't write because I make money. I don't write because I'm writing to market or anything like that. I write the stories I want to tell to explore the things I want to explore. And if someone wants to read it, fantastic, great, thank you very much. But if they don't, that's okay. But Trad Publishing have a very much, this is what we want, we will only accept books in this genre. And agents are a little bit the same. And the other thing that put me off going the Trad Publishing route was the timescales. I just thought, okay, so my dream is to see one of my books on a shelf, on a supermarket shelf, even better. But it's going to take 2 years at least, assuming I landed an agent straight away, to see my book in a bookshop, not necessarily even in the kind of the bestsellers or anything like that. And I just thought, I can't see that happening.
No.
I just can't. And I'd rather feel that what I've done is my own achievement than someone else's achievement. Oh, that sounds possibly a bit peculiar, but it just then was very obvious that I needed to do indie.
You don't really know. I mean, I think they all have a specialized view. A lot of them will ask for 10 pages or even as much as 50 pages. But I imagine, given that I am certain they're inundated, all of them, thousands of them, thousands of submissions a month, right?
Yeah.
That, they have a very quick way of disposing of things. Page 1, if it doesn't capture your attention, they set it aside.
I love the self-publishing industry. I think, to remove gatekeepers and to put us in charge of our own destiny, it's thrilling.
Well, I did on my literary fiction. And it's such a weird process. And I understand that there's a lot of people who publish traditionally are super happy with it, and that's great. But there's not a lot of money in it anymore.
Right.
So for a first book, you're only going to get $3,000 or $5,000, and that you're hoping to be able to write another book before that money is gone. You're doing rapid release anyway.
Yeah.
And you know, they want, a lot of these publishers now want you to have a robust social media presence, and they want you to, you know, have a mailing list. And all. You have to do that if you publish independently. And some of the changes in traditional publishing, like you're not automatically retaining your movie rights, or you're not automatically retaining your Audible rights. Those are true services to authors, because those are lucrative pieces. So for me, I interacted with a few agents, and I thought, you know, I'm just not sure the way that industry is trending. I'm getting on this horse at the right station.
Yeah.
I think that while they are trying to adjust, it's not, the rise of independent publishing tells me that a need is not being met by the traditional publishing market. And yeah, in the beginning, there were an awful lot of truly horrible books going up on independently published platforms. Mm-hmm. They weren't edited. They were atrocious story plot lines. They were boring. They were predictive. But authors that are dedicated to their craft, they're getting better. And so that means the platform as a whole is improving, although you have a lot of new entries. But it does give you a lot of freedom and control over your work that you may or may not get in your traditional publishing contract. And for me, I think that was the biggest piece, because not that I think I'm actually got, you know, the next blockbuster movie in my little repertoire, but who knows what people want. And that's the other thing about traditional publishing is you're literally selling them a book that they thought they wanted 6 months ago that's actually going to hit the market in 3 years. Are there crystal balls out there that I'm not aware of?
It doesn't make that
because
much sense.
I think that the market is fascinating. I mean, with all of the technology that we have at hand, the market is a wildfire. It just shifts all the time. There's some new thing. Somebody did something funny on some platform, and then everybody thinks they got to write that book. And by the time the agent gets that and gets it pushed through, that horse is way out of the barn.